Season 5 is coming. The last 3 days we've seen teasers from a few different creators put out in different various locations across streams and videos. We saw teasers on Monday from Nick Merckx, a teaser from TP yesterday, and then today we got a teaser from Jack Frags, each with their own different stories to tell, each having some different weight to them. Today, I not only want to round up these teasers here for you, but also break them down to perhaps give a more accurate representation of what we very well may be seeing within Season 5 in just about 2 weeks' time. So with that said, let me know your thoughts down below as we go along. What do you think here is going to be the biggest part to come out of Season 5? Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to greatly? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know down there. And as well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Season 5 content on a daily basis. But anyways, let's jump into it. First and foremost, let's just talk about the teasers. If you haven't seen them already, let's check them out. Now, that first teaser sequence from Nick Merckx was something we talked about here a little bit more in depth already, so don't want to spend too much time here on this one, but that teaser takes place at the Boneyard tracks to the west of Promenade and train station. This is something where the perspective of this showcases inside a train. You see a helicopter go over, the horn sounds, and all things like that. It's not a whole lot, but we end up getting, of course, that perspective from inside the train, which is important, but also then we saw, firstly, the official launch date of Season 5 of August 5th, which has been across all of these so far. Now, the story with this one seems to be that this is hinting towards loot trains coming within Season 5. That's something that was in the game files for quite some time, taking a page out of Apex Legends where it's a roaming train and you can end up getting some high-tier loot out of it, but it's going to be a very hot area. It's going to be something that a lot of players contest, and so therefore you're almost guaranteed multiple gunfights. So high risk, high reward, but it is something that looks to be coming in that capacity. And we also talked about how on Monday, this looks to be something that was even foreshadowed for quite some time, because we saw since Season 4's launch that there were new train tracks added across the map. And we talked about how the fact that, yes, a train ties into the backstory of Verdansk and the backstory of Warzone that we're finding out more and more about through intel missions, but it doesn't make any sense to actually alter the map for something that wouldn't be accessible and actually functional to the player. You wouldn't take that time and effort in development to completely alter and add new lanes of transportation if there wasn't something that was going to use that coming up in the future. So it seems like even though there are story implications, all signs do point to a sort of loot train coming within Season 5. And I think that's what this teaser does well to accurately represent, while also still giving us a little bit of a what-if factor. The second teaser, though, is something that deals with Stadium. And this is one that, if you didn't recognize it immediately, that would make sense because it's not a playable area. It's not somewhere that you have been up until this point. Though you can end up figuring out what it is because of the logos and the insignias on the walls. That is the football or soccer club here in Verdansk that is plastered around the outside of the stadium as well. So you can pick up that this was inside the stadium, a sort of concessions area maybe, but also something that overlooked an opening that looked into the field. Now, in this teaser, we end up seeing an explosion happen inside the stadium, a shockwave coming through, and then a loss of signal. Now, many think that this is going to be a nuke, possibly even the nuke from Bunker 11 and the Easter egg there, though I think that's honestly pretty unlikely, especially since the explosion is a shockwave that it's visible. Now, I know it's a game, but let's be realistic here. If that was a nuke not 100 yards from that camera that went off, we wouldn't see a shockwave. We'd see nothing because it would be vaporized instantaneously. I just think it was a bomb of some sort, but that looks to now open up perhaps a new playable area of Stadium that's also been foreshadowed quite a few times now since the mid-season update. Also, one thing is that it was mentioned in game files and referenced that it looks to actually perhaps be a part of Season 5's open opening cinematic. So it is something that we won't see a live event that bomb detonates, but instead it will probably be something that is explained through that introductory cutscene that we see for Season 5. Personally, I'd be interested to see how this plays out in terms of a playable area, whether or not it's something that there's a massive hole blown in the side of the stadium, whether or not it's something that the doors are just opened up, as well as the roof. I don't know, I'm curious to see how this works out, if it does work out exactly how we think, but it looks like signs are pointing towards stadium being opened. But another thing that we learned here outside of this second teaser was also the context in which this stuff was being presented. When we first got Nick Mercs' teaser, we saw that he had a black rook, and that was something that we thought maybe that would have some significance to it. And some of you brilliant people in the comments actually mentioned that that could have been a reference to the Shadow Company from Modern Warfare 2. And upon recording that video when we first talked about it, that didn't even cross my mind, but it made so much sense, especially because we saw that Mace even had an outfit, one that was available in the shop, that had a Shadow Company badge on it. So the existence of Shadow Company was seemingly foreshadowed here with this, as with a couple of other things that we've seen happen like this already a couple of months back. But it turned out with this second teaser and with what Teep ended up reading off was he actually got a letter in which it confirmed the existence of the upcoming of Shadow Company. The letter went as followed: Shadow Company, Verdansk, Katsovia. Memorandum for all SC prospects. Teep, this is Marcus Ortega, Senior Officer, Shadow Company. We haven't met yet, and this box doesn't mean that we will, but the Shadow Company has kept their eye on you in the AO and decided that you are worth contacting. What you've got here is a black rook. As a chess piece, it can do two things: a frontal assault or a sweeping flank. The black rook gives zero shits about misdirection or fancy dancing diagonals. The black rook is brute force embodied. That's us. Shadow Company is called in to clean up the uncleanable messes and take out targets other outfits can't touch. We're a magnet for missions too sensitive to ever get declassified and too messy for those who don't know when to bend the rules of engagement. To put it bluntly, we get the job done. This rook is a symbol, but it's also a ticket to Verdansk and Mr. Z's doorstep. Find us on landing, Marcus Lurch Ortega, Shadow Company. Now, off the top of my head, that name doesn't have any initial significance, but it could be something that maybe we see who this becomes a little later on down the line. But it also could be something that maybe hints at the next operator we end up getting within Modern Warfare. Maybe they're from Shadow Company. We already saw that, again, Mace has some affiliations here within the lore and backstory of Modern Warfare, so it may not be somebody that we necessarily think about immediately, but it could be somebody that ends up making their way over from Shadow Company and being involved here now within the Modern Warfare operator base. But one thing that I am incredibly excited for, though, is whatever implications this has here for this. Whether or not this is something that sets up the Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2 for the next project Infinity Ward makes on, and this is setting up a sequel, or if it's something that we will immediately see their inclusion here within the storyline and the lore of Modern Warfare 2019 and the universe that's being set up. Either way, I'm excited because the Shadow Company to me is always that sort of wild card. And I said for a long time, you probably could have made a Modern Warfare 4 storyline going after and hunting down the rogue Shadow Company operatives. Because, I mean, the easy thing to explain, maybe sure, is that, yeah, it dissolved after Shepard's death, but you had these highly trained mercs that were fighting for the bad guys. What happens to them? They just got off scotch-free. So anyways, there's a ton of stuff I think that could work in relation to bringing the Shadow Company in, and that's just my story nerd side coming out. I'm excited to see what happens here with that. Now, the final teaser that we ended up getting today from Jack Frags was one that at first glance, I honestly didn't know exactly what to think of it, but upon examining a little bit more of the clues, the things like in the upper left of the air quote HUD of this, both the third and the second teaser dealt a little bit with that 5G pretense. Now, that 5G is more than likely dealing with the same area. We saw that it was a concourse for that second one, in which it was the concourse of the stadium. So my guess here is that this is actually a little bit of the aftermath of that explosion from a different camera within stadium. You end up seeing just a burning fire, some helicopter coming in, and that's where we're at here with that, showing just that it did actually go off, the bomb, and something did happen at stadium. Outside of that, we really can't pick up on much of anything else, but it just seems to further progress that storyline that stadium is going to be a center focal point for Season 5. And along with Jack's teaser image, he also got one of those same Shadow Company letters, so again, just further confirming that Shadow Company will have a little bit of a bigger hand here than maybe what we necessarily anticipate within Season 5, but definitely looking forward to it. But right now, that's where we're at here with all these Season 5 teasers, and truthfully told, I'm really excited to see what may be up next. Whether or not this is the end here for creator side teasers like this, whether or not we get more later tomorrow, maybe on Friday, Friday or sometime into next week at some point. I feel like because we haven't had any official marketing from the Call of Duty channels, I feel like we'll probably be getting something at least next week here out of that, whether that's a full reveal, some other teaser here, whatever it could be. We'll have to wait and see. But for the time being, that's what we got, and there's quite a bit of stuff I think to look forward to just out of that. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of these teasers? Do you like them? Do you think that these are pointing towards what we're talking about? Maybe something different entirely? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts. But hopefully enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Season 5 on a daily basis. But if you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.